Let's see what else.
The Academy, bro. We
the
have
Academy,
to.
we have to.
Go to
We
the
can
Academy.
we can look
that's
back as
Academy.
we can go back, but we brought it up. We have to talk about it. Okay, so basically, up until last year, we had a pretty good relationship with the Academy. Elion, you can chime in on this one. You were here for this one.
Yeah.
By the way.
Yeah.
You know, we'd scrimmage there pretty much like every year. The coach there
That was like our first scrimmage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like their head coach
we
was.
scrimmaged them. They were really nice too. They were like good people.
They were all right. Their coach kept them in order, basically.
Yeah.
Their head coach. And so, you know, these guys. I mean, they got pretty rowdy in basketball that winter, right, Dylan? You shushed the crowd.
Oh yeah. I got my
Oh yeah, I remember that game. Dylan shushed the crowd and he got a tech. Lost the
so
game.
basically,
That's so
like,
hard.
Here's what I'll tell you about the Academy. They desperately want to be our rivals. It is their goal in life to be our rivals, but
they're not good enough to be our
They're
rivals.
not good enough to be our rivals. As arrogant as that sounds, you guys are not good enough.
Good.
So basically, we get into this game, and like honestly, from warm-up, something felt off in that game.
They
I don't
had
know
a
about for you
packed
guys.
student section. They had a packed student section. Like,
That's what I'm
they had
saying. And I'm like taking reps at third base before the game with Cade, and they're just like ripping into us. And I'm like, bro, like chill out, champ. I'm just trying to play my baseball game here. And I'm like, something's gonna happen. Like this is not going to end well.
Well, no. First thing with Mariano and the coaches happened. When their coach
yeah, we have to go back to Lamar for this.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, I wasn't there for that, so if you want to explain that situation.
Okay, I was in the dugout because I was pitching that game. So everybody's out in the field doing their IO, and I'm pitching, so I was in the dugout.
This is at the end of the previous season, correct?
Yeah.
Let's just clarify that. Okay.
Last game, the very last game. And their coach comes over to our dugout randomly. I don't even know who that is, honestly. He comes over and he's just talking about our season and talking about his season and our win-loss ratio. And then he says, out of nowhere, he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to come coach for you guys next year. And it was dead silent in the dugout. It was so awkward. I was just sitting there like, I don't know what's going to happen. And he was like, nobody answered. He was just like, I'm going to coach for you guys next summer. And nobody answered. And then he's like, did you guys even hear me? And Mariano said, we're not hiring. And he walked away. And that was it.
Yeah.
It was like, it was over after that.
So, okay. I think it's worth mentioning that coach was asked to step down by the Academy.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
self-promotion though, you know, you got to do it sometimes.
But I think he kept that team in line.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as he left, that team became the worst team to play in any sport.
Well,
Like,
and
Dude,
that other
after
was garbage.
okay, after we're done with this whole story, I'll tell you guys after, like my cousins go to the Academy, not anymore, they graduated, but they told me like everything like the Academy kids thought of the situation and like what happened. And it's so skewed.
Oh.
It's
Yeah, they
so
thought we were
skewed.
racist. I
They
heard
said
some
we
of
were
the things.
being
They thought that
racist
we
to
were being
them.
like racist to them because they're not like, I don't know, they're like,
Oh, no.
it's not like
Right
they're a
there.
very diverse school, but they like to think that like we are just like all white and that everybody is just out to get anybody who's not white. Like they paint us out to be like a really racist school. And so they kind of flipped it after the situation happened where we were being racist and we deserved it. But pretty much what happened was we were playing a really competitive game. Their student section was trashing us the entire game. We started getting pissed off. Brandon said some things like towards the end of the game. And then in I guess, what do you call it? The sportsmanship lines or whatever, like when we were like shaking hands at the end of the game.
Oh, no.
We get-
First,
No. Hold up.
Wait. So in the bottom of the 7th inning, we're up by 1 run, and there's runners on 2nd and 3rd, and first and 3rd, and the runner takes off, and Brendan throws to 2nd, but it went into center field, and both of the runners scored, and we lost the game.
But hold on. Before this whole game, even we played them in Lamar. This is a whole other story, but we played them in Lamar in the playoffs, and that kind of sparked everything.
Yeah, we beat them back to back because they were our last game of
Yeah.
the regular season, and then they were our first game of the playoffs. So we beat them back to back.
So
they
that
got,
kind of
like-
sparked this whole kind of thing. And so during this game, this was, let's see, it was either May 3rd or I want to say May 3rd or May 2nd last year. I don't know why I remember.
It was May 3rd. I remember because of journalism.
Yeah, it was a very memorable day. I will say that. So one of the things that happened during the game was they slid into Brendan's leg, took him out, and Brendan was kind of like got in their face. Brendan doesn't take anything
Brendan was
from
pissed.
anyone. Right. So the game continues. It's just a disgusting game, quite frankly. Like, it's not like physical, but they're being very, they're just not saying.
Like,
They're being kind of
things.
vulgar.
Yeah.
There were some things that people said in the crowd and in their dugout and stuff that was pretty, like, I guess, like, it was just not something that's very, like, sportsmanlike. And they were being kind of just very unsportsmanlike during the game. So it was, like, kind of frustrating throughout the game because they were just being really rowdy and really, like, unsportsmanlike. So, like, throughout the game, it was kind of already pretty tense. And then to lose it in such a fashion that we did, like, it was pretty frustrating because I know that Brendan felt like he let us down and everything. So he was really, really heated.
Yeah.
And so he cussed one of them out at the end of like the I guess at the end of shaking hands and stuff like that. Someone said something to him and he just starts cussing everybody out.
Well,
So
it's because
they were being like trashy to us.
Yeah,
though.
Yeah,
exactly.
they were like, while they were being like, good game, they were like, good game, you suck, good game, whatever.
They were being
jerks for sure.
Yeah, they were being
Brendan
jerks.
was in front of me, and they told him good throw as he was walking past. So
Yeah,
it was-
that's
he was
just
pissed.
petty,
So
bro.
he starts screaming F you at them, and we're kind of like, oh crap, this is kind of tense. So we were like, okay, hey, Brendan, it's fine. We get talked to, then we finish the game. We're all packing our stuff up, and I'm
nothing
walking out
even
of the
happened.
dugout,
This
and
is
all of a sudden I
ridiculous.
hear screaming, and people are just sprinting out. And
Mhm.
all of a sudden I look over and I see Brendan is like walking back and he's like bloody. And
Yeah,
I look over and I see people like scuffling. I remember I just took off and my mom is like screaming at me. My grandma's screaming at me. Like my mom yelled at Dylan to come like chase after me. So I'm, like,
Yeah, I grabbed
sprinting
you
after
as
him.
well, bro. This guy is a
I didn't even
loose
change out of
cannon.
my cleats yet. I was just sprinting out of the dugout with my cleats on. I'm sprinting at these dudes. And I get like almost clotheslined by Dylan. And then Vince comes over. Vince is grabbing me. I'm like trying to wriggle free. I'm like screaming at everybody. I cussed out, I think, 2 grandmas.
Yeah. You cussed out some
dude was walking
grandmas,
by, and
man.
he was kind of like shaking his hands. He's like, yeah, what? I'm just like cussing. I'm screaming F you to everybody in Academy gear. Like I'm screaming at people. Meanwhile, Pearson's over here throwing knees. Some dude comes up.
Yes,
and tries
sir.
to get him, and
Yes,
Pearson's over here,
sir.
like
So
kung fu
certified.
pandaing fools. Like this dude comes around a corner, is like sprinting at Pearson. He goes to punch him. Like I don't know if he missed or if he just was a complete wimp. But Pearson goes, that didn't even hurt, and knees this dude straight
Yes,
like the stomach or
sir.
something.
Woo!
But this
Oh
all
my
started
God.
because they said something to Brendan's little brother. So
Yeah.
Brendan's little brother
Andrew.
Andrew was a year younger than us.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a year younger than us. Well, we have to put it in context. Like,
Yeah. Come
anyways, Brendan's younger brother Andrew was a year younger than us, and Brendan was a year older than us. So, like they come up and they're talking to Andrew because Andrew is a really good baseball player, and he was on the field during the time, and so they were kind of trash talking both of them, but they kind of targeted Andrew because he was younger and easier. Well, Brendan there was like 4 of them, and Brendan was like, hey, I'm like, he's like just kind of telling him to like screw off and stuff like that. And so they ended up jumping Brendan, and they kind of like,
No, he was like, okay, so I'm parked next to Brendan. His car is parked next to mine. So I'm walking out with him and Andrew, and they're all out there, and they start messing with Andrew, and Brendan says, stop messing with my younger brother, like you said. And then they were like, well, what are you going to do about it? So he started walking at him, and then they just attacked him. And me and Cade were the only ones that were like around. I don't even know where everybody else was, honestly.
We were all-
There was the
was-
JV game right after, so people weren't even off of the field at that point.
Yeah, we were like shifting in
I
and
was-
out.
Because I was warming up, and then Caleb started running out of the field, and I was like,
Yeah.
"What in the world?"
Yo.
And then I like look out, and
yeah, because I was
everybody's
still
like
getting
in a
my stuff
circle
from
in
the
the parking
dugout.
lot.
I was still getting,
And
I
I
was
was
still
like,
packing
oh.
my stuff up from the
Yeah.
dugout. Like I
I
wasn't
literally
even.
remember. I remember it being me and Cade and Brendan bloody on the ground, like literally fighting the entire team. And we were like, I don't even know what to do right now. That
This was
giant.
yeah.
You remember that really huge kid they called Trace?
Well, Trace is his
Yeah.
name, and he's a scumbag. but
Yeah, I
that's
know.
calm.
He literally came
Poker
around the
watching
corner of the
Trace.
truck, and I wanted to like pee myself. He was terrifying. So I kind of just like bear hugged him.
Bro,
And-
shout out to you guys though. 4 of you jumping one guy, like real big
Yeah, that
men
was
you
kind of
are,
a-
bro. Shout
like-
out to you guys
No,
for that one.
dude, the narrative behind that at the academy is so skewed. So basically, what they said is like in the lines, you know, like the good game lines. So like what you
Mhm.
guys said, how they were chirping at us, and then Brendan responded. They said that Brendan had said some racist comment to the catcher because I'm pretty
Oh
sure the
my.
catcher was that Hispanic kid, right?
Yeah, James.
Yeah,
Scum.
and they were like, "Oh, are you serious? Are you serious?" And then like, of course, that's not what it happened because like Brendan is not that kind of a guy.
No,
like,
that's not
he's
Brendan.
way,
Nobody on our
Brendan's
team
a
he's
good
way,
dude.
that's-
dumb.
we don't
like, he's
we
way
wouldn't
too
take
laid
that.
back.
Yeah,
And
nobody on our team is racist. And so that's a terrible claim by them. And I think if that's how they want to skew it, go ahead. But I'm going to tell you right
well, that's
now.
the
it's
thing
false.
is that it's like everything has sort of blown over because their whole team at that point was all juniors, I think, or
Yeah.
mostly
Yeah,
juniors.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
they had a lot of
by the
seniors
time
as
that
well.
we were by the time that we were gonna play them, those same guys were probably not on the team. Obviously, like there's bad blood, but the people that go there, my cousins, they told me the coach, what he had said is that it was like a mutual fight. Like they agreed to go fight in the parking lot, and that he was
No,
trying
absolutely
to
not.
separate people.
Absolutely not. He was yelling at
Nobody-
us as well. Because I remember we went out there and we're all like, get out of here, get out of here. And he was like, Jefferson Academy, you guys need to calm down, right? Like he's yelling at us. I'm like,
Yeah, he's
bro,
like screaming at
we haven't
Jefferson,
done
and he just
anything
got
to you.
jumped.
yeah,
Well,
like
he told the cops that he was holding like 2 kids
Yeah.
apart.
Oh my
Anybody.
gosh.
Not at
Bro,
all. That's
my
not at all.
guy, you want to know the story about that coach during this whole situation? So the whole thing's going on in the parking lot. So he decides to get into it with our parent section because we don't really have a student section. We have a parent section, but that's okay.
Hey, that's
and
lit.
so my mom was over there, and basically, Elion, your dad and the coach got into it. Did you know this?
It was my pops and it was Cade's dad, and I think
Yeah.
I'm not Mr.
Yeah.
Beck. maybe?
Yeah.
It had to have been
Beck got
Mr.
into
Beck.
Yeah.
Mr.
Had
Beck
to have been.
would
Had to
stand
have
up for us.
Yeah,
for
Mr.
literally
Beck.
anything.
Shut
It was
up.
my dad, Cade's dad, and Dylan's dad. They were just arguing with their coach. I had no idea.
So basically, their coach comes over and is like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah. You like that? You like that?" Like acting like he's Kirk Cousins or something. Like, shut up, bro.
Nice.
So I think what happened, Elion, your dad was like, "Oh yeah, remember Lamar last year?"
Yeah, something like
And,
that.
and the coach
Your
just
dad,
went, "Oh,
man.
yeah, he went in. My man's gone
Elion.
correct, bro." And he goes, their coach goes, "Blah, blah, 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 blah. Go shut up and pour yourself another glass of Patron."
Something
like-
like that.
Yeah, like
Oh.
he's just
It
being
was
an
like,
idiot,
yeah,
bro.
it was dumb.
Yeah, it's like that.
Wow.
So this
Wow.
guy claims he's like innocent, like he was holding people apart. That this dude was literally on the field beefing with our parents. Like
He literally lied to the police about that. And
He did lie.
I'm
My
glad
mom
that
told me about
yeah.
that.
yeah, I'm glad that Cade's dad was a police officer because that worked out
Yeah,
really
Cade's
well.
dad is. I forgot about that. Cade's dad is a police officer.
yeah,
He was
he's like an airport cop. He has a sick job.
He has
Yeah,
a.
Wait,
he's
was
like
he
holding
was he the guy that showed up, or was he just like
Yeah,
a
no,
guy
he was
that?
No,
he was
no,
holding
no,
people
no.
apart during the
Yeah.
fight because Cade got
That
into the
was
fight
already
too.
there.
And so
Yeah, Cade's
he
dad
was
was
like
already there.
separating. He was like he pulled Cade out. He pulled Brendan and Andrew out, and he pulled I think Pearson. You got out too, but he was like pulling people out of the fight because like legitimately they got jumped.
Yeah.
And so like
They did.
they-
Wasn't there like 4 or 5 of them that all
There were
came around?
There were 6 academy kids, and there were 3
6?
of us, and one of them that got all bloody. It was 6 on
my
3.
Yeah, shout out you guys. Once again, I'll say it. Shout out you guys for that one. So let's go back to the Caleb story, right? So Dylan and I are holding this dude back. This dude elbows me in the face, right? So my jaw's all locked up. And he gets away for a second. Noah is on the field warming up. Noah runs outside of the gate and grabs Caleb. That was a certified moment, bro.
Dude, I remember I almost had Caleb in a chokehold at one point. He was
Yeah,
trying to get away
bro.
so bad. I was like, this kid's gonna go to jail if I let him go because he's gonna kill someone.
Yeah, bro.
Dude,
It wasn't a
somebody
flex
went around
at
and taking
all.
all of the bats out of the backpacks. They like took all the bats out. Do you remember that? And all the bats were laying
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
That was sketchy.
That was stupid.
So, anyways, Grant starts trying to block one of their cars from leaving.
Oh
Yeah.
that. And they were like
Oh, it's
laying
flying.
on the horn because that kid was trying to fleet the scene.
Yeah, he
that
was
kid was
yeah,
trying to
wanted
leave,
two
so he
guys
didn't get
to
in
fight.
trouble.
He tried to leave. He
That was
ended up
that was the
leaving.
kid that started it too. That was the kid that originally started it with Andrew.
Yeah.
That's
Was
cheap.
that their catcher, or was it Cisco or Trey? Like,
No,
who
it was
that?
Cisco. The kid that was driving away was Cisco.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to you, Cisco.
Shout out to the catcher who taught me in basketball this year.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. This guy, bro.
I
So,
hate that.
I mean, what else happened that day? Like, it was just kind of chaotic. My mom was like, get out of here. So I don't really know what happened after.
Well, okay.
I
so-
left, like, right as the cops were showing up. So I'm not really
Grant-
sure what happened.
Okay, so Grant gets in front of that big, whatever. I don't even remember what car it was, honestly.
It was like a Jeep. It was like a red Jeep.
Yeah, it was a Jeep.
Yeah. And I ran out to him, and I was like, dude, you got to get out of the way. And he was like, but he punched Andrew. And I was like, but it's a car. So he finally got out of the way, and we're all just talking. And then, like, there's a police officer in front of this truck.
Well, the ump
And-
started yelling again. The umps kind of
Yeah,
started the
yeah,
whole
yeah,
thing
yeah.
back up again.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that ump was freaking out. I forgot about that. The
Yeah.
ump was like he didn't ump the JV game. I don't think because he was
No,
like
he didn't
was like,
help at all, dude. He was.
he was like
But coaches,
he was like
get this under
freaking
control
out. He's like,
now. Everything's calm. And he's like, coaches, I need you guys to get this under control right now. I'm like, bro, you're late. You're too late, bro.
Too much has happened. Yeah, that was dumb.
Yeah.
And you had like different people from the academy because there were a couple girls who I knew were staying in the stands, and they came over saying, "I have a statement to give," and it was complete BS as I listened to them.
Gosh.
And then after that, kind of the JV game happened. Noah, Stanley, you tell this because you were there, and Noah was there.
Yeah, I played. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
can you
I
guys
remember-
explain what happened there?
Well, I remember I was in the stands, and our JV guys were doing well, and then all of a sudden Noah gets hit playing first base. Like he gets
He got
right
nailed.
on the base path, right? Wasn't that what happened?
Yeah. So I wasn't even in the base path. Like I was literally on like my side of the base. Like
Yeah.
I was literally fine. And
Kid shoved you.
yeah, it was like a ground ball. Or like I don't know if he bunted or what, something.
dude popped your joint.
And so I went to like I was running.
It was hit over to
ball.
third. I remember.
No. This was like the one that it was like a bunt attempt or like something. He hit it like weak and it was over on my side. So I like ran to get the ball and coach was just yelling like let it go foul. So I was like, okay. So I started like backing up and into like fair territory, and this dude like say this is like the foul line, literally just goes out of the way to like literally just run me
Really?
over. Like
I
I'm a
didn't know
big
that.
dude.
Yeah,
like,
he went
and, like,
out of his way to try to hit Noah.
I
and
didn't
like I'm
know
a
that.
big dude, and he
Yeah.
like literally just knocked me straight on my butt, dude. Like, yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ridiculous, bro. Like,
Yeah, bro.
And then
Screw the
like that
academy.
whole game just had like a weird feel because out in the parking lot, like
Yeah.
everybody was still getting taken care of. There were cops. We had one ump because the other ump chose not to even do the
Screaming
game
at
because he was
us.
yelling at parents.
Yeah.
And it was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
it was absolutely that whole situation was one of the messiest things I've ever seen.
Hey, bro,
I feel
shout out to the
like-
Bennett dad.
Well, okay, well
At the
we'll
Pepsi
get there.
Center.
That might be a story for a different crew. I don't know.
That's funny.
We can
Yeah,
think
we
about
might
that.
have to get.
Yeah, I think that'll be a different crew we'll get going. I want to keep this baseball centric. So the end of that season, this was like towards the really end of the season. There was a chance we were going to play them in the playoffs again. Like, and
I
like, that
remember
game
that.
would have been insane. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think they would have let us play. I don't
Yeah,
think they would have. I don't
okay.
think they would have let it happen.
So like from there on out, there was a CHASA, like not an umpire, but like a CHASA official at our games, like making sure nothing was going on.
Yeah.
And I was like, we really, I mean, at the end of the day, like we
Well,
were just defending ourselves.
well, yeah, we were
and-
just defending ourselves, and what proved it was they got in a fight with PRA later that year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
PRA.
I
How do you
remember
fight
that.
PRA?
How do you fight
Later.
PRA? They're literally garbage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And they fought Bruce Randolph. Like these guys were looking for a fight, and I mean,
They were just gonna fight anyone they could.
yeah, they were gonna fight anyone, and that happened. I mean,
Is that coach still at the academy?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
He is.
Yes, he
Seriously?
is because he was at the basketball games, and we started chirping at him. We're like,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I remember
dude.
that. I remember that. He
Remember-
was at the basketball games.
He sat
Yeah.
right next to the student section, and Ryan Ponzio sat next to him.
Yeah.
That's
like-
tough.
No.
That's tough.
Dubs. Hunt Dylan.
Dude, that was when I got a concussion and was out for the game.
That was
Bro,
probably
this game was
because
stupid.
That dude completely like
Same
literally, like,
guy,
killed-
bro.
Career high that game.
It was their catcher.
No, you
Yeah,
you guys
yeah.
went
He
on,
undercut
on a
Dylan.
run. Oof. You guys went on like a 12-point run where they just like couldn't score. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. It was
That
insane.
was so hype. When you guys beat them, I was like,
that was sick. That was the coolest ever.
Then
yeah.
we, like,
when
charged
when
the
he
court.
flipped you though, when he undercut you, I was
Yeah.
so
Oh,
pissed.
Yeah.
We all,
Bro,
everyone was like
Yeah.
on the court.
Yeah, everyone was just
Yeah.
yelling at him from the student
Yeah,
section.
everyone was like, "What the heck?"
Because he flipped you, and then he like stood over you.
and then
Yeah.
he was like, "Yeah, I'm like that." Like,
Um,
Yeah.
Like what?
That was so bad.
Like,
I'm like that.
And then he tried to apologize. He's like, bro, I didn't mean to do it. I was like, yeah, you did.
sure.
And then he was sat on the bench wearing a towel on his head the rest of the game. You're not Curry, bruh.
Yeah.
Who just left?
No, Noah's still in. He just muted his
Okay.
mic.
Okay. Yeah, so that happened. I think that's the end of that story, really. We were going to play them again this year. That
And
doesn't look like it's not happening in the spring. It may happen some point in the summer, but I don't think it will. I think really we were never supposed to play them in another sport again. But that didn't happen.
Well,
So, yeah. I'm not really sure what's going to
contract
happen
with
with
them
that.
to play him this year, but after this year, we weren't gonna like play him anymore.
I don't
Yeah,
think that
there's going to
will.
be like no league scheduled games.
well, yeah, their coach after that happened was like, I'm canceling all of our future games with you. So,
Please,
well,
please do.
Hey, please.
yeah.
Please do.
And
No,
basically
no. I
focusing
kind of
on-
wanted to play them, though. I kind of did.
No, I did too, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I was like, if we're gonna be
Like,
dealing
why
with
would
that,
you?
like, I'm just trying to play baseball at the end of the day. Like,
Right.
You,
get
like,
our,
wanna
we'll get our own
compete,
back
but,
by
like-
beating you 15-0,
Yeah,
and then
and we're
waving
gonna
goodbye
do
to you. Like,
and we're gonna do it well. We're not gonna be cocky.
I'm just going to
Yeah,
say that
that's-
if we did end up playing them in the playoffs, we would have clapped them.
That
Like
would've been
we were
insane.
so pumped for that game. I think that was probably like the most intense that I've seen, like that group of seniors, especially Brendan. Like that was the most intense,
Yeah.
like look in their eyes where they're like, we're going to beat these guys if we play
Oh,
them
yeah.
again. I was like, ooh.
shout out Cedar Edge, though. All right.
Oh, yeah.
So
No,
let's.
shout out Cedar Edge.
So I think let's put a pin in that one.
Yep.